2025 is shaping up to be a big year for mirrorless camera releases. Earlier this year, we got the exciting Lumix S1 II, and then recently Canon dropped the C50, and on the same day, Nikon blindsided filmmakers with the release of the Nikon ZR. This is the first true collaboration of a Nikon and Red camera in a small mirrorless body with the DNA of a Red. I want to go over some basic specs of this camera, why I think this camera is exciting for the industry, some quirks that I don't love about this camera, and my final thoughts on this compact powerhouse. This camera features a 24 megapixel full frame sensor similar to the Nikon Z6 III, and Nikon finally did it. They put Red RAW inside a mirrorless body, sort of. It's R3D NE, which is a 12-bit codec of Red RAW that can shoot up to 6K 60 frames a second. The camera has over 15 stops of dynamic range in R3D. Great IBIS, great thermal management, at least from what I can see on testing online. People have really put this camera through the tests. Kind of wish they did the same with the Lumix S1 II, but they kind of glazed over that during all the reviews. It's got an incredible 4-inch LCD flip screen that's 1000 nits and supports LUT monitoring. This camera has 32-bit flow internal recording for audio, which is something that I think a lot of us have been waiting for and hoping for a camera to do. Pretty incredible that Nikon did it. It's got flexible mount options, and for Sony users, this is great because you can adapt Sony E-mount lenses and use autofocus, which is incredible. It opens the camera up to many mounts, including PL, EF, and Sony E, and then obviously the Nikon mount is native to it. It has USB-C power delivery and really excellent IBIS, which is crazy to think that you can have a camera with R3D in it that has IBIS. It's got incredible autofocus, which is another amazing feature to have R3D and autofocus. Mind-blowing. It has dual base ISO of 800 and 6400. It's got a CF Express and micro SD card slot, which is a little weird. This camera can shoot 3 flavors of RAW: R3D NE, NRAW, and ProRes RAW. Who needs that much RAW, but I'm not complaining. It's got similar rolling shutter performance to the FX3, but it's not quite a global shutter. It's also a great photo camera, which is insane to say since it's got Red DNA in it. So it's got similar photo capabilities to the Z6 III. And what's crazy is all this comes at $2,200. Finally, Nikon is taking a serious step into the world of filmmaking. So here are my thoughts on who this camera's for. The Nikon ZR is a Swiss Army knife of mirrorless cameras. For filmmakers who want to get into the Red ecosystem with a lower barrier of entry while also keeping a small footprint out on the field. If you're a current Red user and want an affordable B or C cam or need a crash cam, this is a great option. That same filmmaker can use this camera as a dad cam while out on vacation. If you want to document your travels with family, or if you want to take some photos, you can easily switch into photo mode. So my first thought when this camera came out and I saw the price was, why not just buy a used Red Komodo? The prices have dropped significantly since Nikon acquired Red. I've seen Red Komodos on the secondhand market as low as $2,500 body only. When you buy a used Red Komodo body, you still have to take into account that you have to rig it out, and that's not cheap. You have to buy a monitor, SDI cable, handle, and expensive media and batteries. The Nikon ZR takes CF Express Type B cards, which are very affordable compared to the Red Komodo 6K. Not to mention the large footprint that the Red Komodo takes in public compared to something mirrorless and a small body like the ZR. Once you rig out the Komodo, even used, you could be paying upwards of $4,000, which is almost double the price of the ZR, which is ready to go right out of the box. And since there's no perfect camera out there, I want to go over the cons, at least the cons that I see. This camera doesn't have anamorphic D-squeeze in camera. Even the FX3 10 years later finally got an update for D-squeezing in camera. Secondly, I don't think this camera has enough exposure tools. I'm a little confused online reading. Some people say it has waveform, some people don't. I'm seeing videos in the menus where I don't see a waveform option. That would be something good to implement. Also, this camera doesn't have the amazing traffic light system, which everyone loves on the Red. It's one of the best exposure tools I've ever used. And let's talk about the micro HDMI. Everybody hates micro HDMI. I get it. They made a screen that mimics a monitor with the nits and how big it is. Without having those exposure tools or de-squeezing in camera, it kind of negates the use of this screen as a monitor in some cases. All this could also be fixed if they would use the Red Control app. If no one's ever used the Red Control app, it's extremely useful for using on a Red camera and the Red camera systems, and could be used as a monitor as well. And I would love them to implement that. This camera doesn't dual record, even though it has 2 media slots. And the micro SD card doesn't work with R3D NE, so essentially you have 1 media slot. Most people are buying this camera to use it for the Red codec. A lot of people online are bitching about the fact that it's not 16-bit RAW, and I get it, but for $2,200, my only complaint is I wish it would have different flavors of RAW, as like LQ, MQ, smaller file sizes, kind of like the Red Komodo and the Red Komodo X do. And I think that would be huge for people who want to do long form content, people who want to shoot weddings and different events sense where they want those red colors and the flexibility, but they don't want huge file sizes. And my last complaint about this camera is it doesn't shoot in open gate. And yes, in theory, shooting R3D NE in open gate would probably be a nightmare. Just like the C50, it'd probably have huge file sizes, maybe even bigger than that. But I feel like with a few tweaks, this camera could be an awesome entry-level camera for filmmakers who want to get into the RED ecosystem. Overall, for $2,200, I think this is a great move from Nikon to get people into their filmmaking ecosystem that they're building. I believe it's called the Z Cinema line they're going for. I read interviews online with Nikon reps saying they are willing to do firmware updates and see how consumers take it first. So I have high hopes for this camera, and I think it's a great step for Nikon. And it's pretty hilarious that they dropped it right when the C50 was dropped. I felt like everyone was excited about the C50, and it kind of took the wind out of the sails of Canon. Good job, Canon. Sorry. The fact that you can adapt Sony E-mount lenses to this camera and use autofocus is a huge win. There are so many Sony users and so many lenses out there. I feel like the E-mount is very open, and so that's great for Nikon, on top of great Nikon lenses. From here on out, can we please have this 4-inch screen on all mirrorless cameras? Talking to you, Lumix, Sony, Canon. We know Canon's not going to do it, but Sony and Lumix, please. As a filmmaker who likes smaller setups and smaller form factors out in the field, I think this is a great camera. If they can come up with firmware updates for the de-squeezing, maybe use the RED control app, and a few more exposure tools, I might just pick up this camera. From here on out, I think Nikon is going to start being taken seriously in the video space. I think this camera will sell really well, and I think users will be really happy. And for people who want to get into the RED ecosystem on a budget, or for filmmakers who want a roadmap to move up to things like the Komodo X, or RED Raptor, this is a great stepping stone to get in and test R3D and learn how to use it. Even though it's a lighter version of it, being 12-bit, learning how to use the color science and getting that look, and being able to move up and have a roadmap to move to different cameras as you advance as a filmmaker is a great setup. I'm excited for what new products Nikon is going to release now that they're on my radar. I'm hoping to get my hands on a copy of this, so Nikon, if you want to send it to me, I would love to try it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to rent one. So hopefully in the next couple months, I'll have that out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Like and subscribe, and until the next time.